fans, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Aireonna and I'm here to bring you some breaking news about 2 hours before the 49ers face the Jets, Monday Night Football for Game 1 of the 49ers season. And the inactives were released. Unfortunately, Christian McCaffrey is inactive. For those of you guys who have not been keeping up with it, he has a calf/Achilles strain, which is a partial tear. So he will not be playing in tonight's game. And I have a few thoughts on this. First of all, I'm happy that the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan are not playing him. I almost anticipated they would play him. I feel like in the past, Kyle Shanahan, if the trainers say, you know, he can go, Kyle would run the brakes off of Christian McCaffrey. Chris McCaffrey was also on about a month ago before week 1 of the preseason saying if the regular season was to start then that he would be participating. And John Lynch on Friday, so just a few days ago, was on KMBR and also said that he was certain that Christian McCaffrey would be playing. So it was a bit of a shock when on Saturday Kyle called Christian McCaffrey questionable, but it also made sense because McCaffrey had not been participating in practice. I was worried that with that partial tear, which is what a strain is, it's a mini tear, so not a huge tear, you know, but something to be very cautious of, especially in your Achilles. When you're a running back and you're planting your feet in the ground, you have to be extremely careful. We've seen Dre Greenlaw, who was on the 49ers last season, struggled week to week with an Achilles strain and then ended up tearing it in the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, who they're facing literally tonight, went all off season in Jets camp last year when it was all hyped that it was going to be his first year at the Jets. He had an Achilles strain and then ended up tearing it on like the first play of the Jets season. So, sorry, I'm walking a little bit. I'm outside of work and I don't want to take a little break to update you guys. But so I'm glad that Kyle and the organization is not playing him. If he's not 100%, I would not put him on the field. Ryan Hensley actually had a doctor on his show who confirmed that, like, even if it was 98%, do not play him. It's an AFC team. I know it feels like a must-win game, and I have a couple thoughts on that. One, the 49ers should be able to beat the Jets even without Christian McCaffrey. Fans have been hyping up Jordan Mason. I've been a big advocate for Jordan Mason. I hope he has a really big game today. Isaac Rendo, the rookie, looked pretty good in preseason. I'll be interested to see how they split up the running backs and the carries within this game, because I predicted that a good offensive strategy against the Jets would be for it to be a run-heavy game. Sauce Gardner is a cornerback, so you know, it's going to be harder on these wide receivers. Debo, it's a little bit hard for him to get open. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk missed all of training camp. Not saying that he won't do well, but I'm for it being a run-heavy game. With that being said, I do think that they can still be run-heavy without Christian McCaffrey for this game. Also, you don't want Christian McCaffrey to get injured week 1. If this is something that he's struggling with all season, I wouldn't even play him until the playoffs. And it probably won't come to that. That's probably a bit extreme. But I would make sure he's healthy before I put him out there on the field. A partial strain, partial tear, can easily become a full rib tear, and then you're out for a season or more. You have to consider also Christian McCaffrey. He's older. He's, I think, 28. Which is older in running back years. He had 2 extensive high usage years with the Panthers, and then had 2 high usage years with the 49ers. Just last year, Kyle and Christian McCaffrey were on a mission to break that touchdown record where Christian McCaffrey got a touchdown or multiple touchdowns per game. I think they got all the way up to 14. They didn't quite make the touchdown record, but I think they tied it. But that kind of sucks if you think about the strain that put on Christian McCaffrey's body. And for people who don't know, it's hypothesized at least, that this injury is the same injury that was bothering Christian McCaffrey during week 17. So if you guys don't remember, Christian McCaffrey injured his calf week 17. He sat out the second half of the game. They didn't play him at all during week 18 because they had already secured the number 1 spot. Then he played throughout the playoffs. I'm assuming he rehabbed that injury and rested it, did both all off season. then unfortunately he triggered that in, before getting through all of training camp, because he sat out most of training camp at first for his contract extension in order to guarantee himself some money, which, if you think about it, he had more years left on his contract, but if he would have gotten injured, he had 0 guarantees left if he knew he was struggling with a calf injury or an Achilles injury. I mean, teams can easily cut running backs who are struggling with that. So as a player, he wanted to get that guaranteed money. I'm sure he was resting and rehabbing it. He was out there a little bit during mini camp, so maybe he thought it was feeling a little better. And then when he tried to amp up as the off season, you start playing more and more football, you're ramping up, you're going less weight room, more football activity, which is more explosive. Obviously in the weight room, you're doing, little banded stuff with your calves, with your toes, with your heels, really training that Achilles and calf, and then, building muscle with the weights, probably doing, supervised running. But it's much different from full game speed when you're twitching, stopping, starting, running routes. Like, you can't hesitate in those moments, and just one small tweak and you can tear that right off. Earlier on in training camp, it was Kyle Shanahan reported it as a calf injury, but that was before as game start, because of betting reasons. You have to be more specific, and that's when they transferred it and started calling it a calf/Achilles injury. I would be very careful with Christian McCaffrey. So like I said, my takeaways are, I'm glad he's not playing. It's week 1 and they shouldn't need him to win. I think they can still win without him, and you don't want to play him until he's 100%. But then my second takeaway is, if this is the same injury from week 17 last year and it's still getting aggravated, and this is an older player, older running back with a lot of usage, is he ever going to be 100% again? I really, really hope his calf/Achilles doesn't tear. I'm thinking about Kevin Durant. I'm thinking about Aaron Rodgers, thinking about Derrick Henry, thinking about Dre Greenlaw. Very scary issue. I'm glad that it feels like the 49ers learned. I mean, with Dre Greenlaw, he was playing through it all season and then tore it in the Super Bowl. It feels like they're trying to save McCaffrey and hopefully not play him until he's 100%. Sounds like from interviews he wanted to play, so I'm proud of whoever stepped in and said, listen, dude, if you're not 100%, I don't care if you're 99%, you're not going. So I'm proud of them for not pushing him. And then my last takeaway is, I think they can beat the Jets without him. I think they're going to need him to win the Super Bowl, but I think they can win week 1 tonight, in like an hour and a half without him. Let's see if Jordan Mason has what it takes. I've been a cheerleader for Jordan Mason. I know a lot of fans have had his back. Supposedly he was struggling with like pass protection stuff. Obviously, as a running back, he was doing really great, just in a ball carrier sense. But it'll be interesting to see how he does with a full workload, or if Kyle Shanahan gives him that or ends up, doing something else with him. But we'll see. Anyways, go Niners. Bye.